Yo, guys, but on fire here, back in the video, and today we're going to be bringing you guys another offensive run scheme in Madden 22. Today we're going to be running the I-form close formation. This is in the 49ers offensive playbook. It's also in playbooks like Raiders and a couple of other ones, of course. And we're mainly going to be going over the run plays. If you want to see a full scheme with passing plays as well, maybe a gameplay, let me know down below in the comment section. Can bring that to you, but we're going to start out with the run plays and take a look at what we have. We have some nice plays like stretch, power O, you have dive, which is on the left, you can't see that, toss, and there's like a halfback blast, which is a 95 mic, pretty much like a halfback inside zone. So we're going to be going over pretty much all of those. Let's go ahead and set up some of our audibles. We put the stretch in, we're going to throw in the power O, and then just the halfback dive or the ISO, and we'll show the toss. The toss is not my favorite personally, but it is there, so we will throw it in. And yeah, overall, let's just jump straight into it. So the first thing we're going to do is kind of move the ball to a certain hash. We want our tight end usually to be on the wide side of the field, so that's what we're going to do. And yeah, that should set us up pretty well. And here is a look at the toss. The toss can have big play potential, as seen right there. You really can break it out, but it's a very hit or miss type play. A lot of you should know that. You're either going to pick up like 20 yards or you're going to get hit in the backfield for a loss of 3. And of course, out of those, the more likely option is getting hit for a loss of 3. But if you have numbers on a side, if the formations do check out, you can definitely break it for some big time gains. Kind of the way that we're doing it right here, just standard. Now, one of my favorite things to do with the toss, and you'll see this with the stretch as well, is actually motion out this fullback just like here. Get him a little bit further, just a little bit more space. This pretty much creates a strong close look, or a strong close formation. You can motion snap him, you can let him get set if you want, but this turns it into a strong close formation. And he's just further out there, and you just have to be a little less patient. You do see that the result, it will vary, but that just has to do with the toss in general, not necessarily our motion. But I mean, overall, it's decent. It's not going to be super reliable, so I wouldn't go to it on a 4th and 1, but it can break free. You can be nice to call this a couple times a game just to see what happens, especially if he's in a favorable formation. Taking us to our next play, it's going to be stretch, and stretch is generally where I like to flip it. I like to run to this side a little bit better just because we're going to have better numbers. We still have our fullback over here, and if Biotish doesn't get shedded there, we have a lot of room anyway. But again, all you're doing is flipping. Really just being patient with the running game is very important, especially in something like I-form. So you notice that I'm not even really holding turbo until we kind of get into that lane where we have some free space. So I really like to let the blocks develop. If you were to run it to this right side, you definitely can. Again, just utilize some patience the way that we did right there. Fill the gaps with the running back and you're able to find some open room. Again, just running it to this right side, you can incorporate some fullback motion, but here you see we get some pretty good blocks and we're able to make some guys miss, pick up around 20 to 25 yards relatively easily. Now going back to the stretch, you can of course utilize the same motion that I mentioned, kind of like a motion snap, turns it into a strong close stretch, which no playbook has a stretch out of that strong close formation, so you're creating some cool different plays from that perspective. And then I believe you can actually motion him over here if you're running it to the left side. So if he's not getting out there quick enough, it's a pretty easy fix actually. And you can do that for the toss as well, as we'll be doing that for the power O. So as far as motion, that's one of the things I like to do a lot. You can get creative with the wide receiver motion. You can motion CD Lamb over to this side. You cannot motion Amari Cooper over to the right, but you can motion CD Lamb over here, and what that creates is an I-form close slot look, which that formation is actually in this playbook. So you notice when you motion CD over, we create that look, and if you do this, you can kind of create some motion as well, and it turns into the same thing. So pretty cool there, in my opinion, just on some of the things that you can actually create with those particular plays. The last motion that we can kind of do, and again with Amari Cooper, we can motion him to the outside. If we motion him to the inside, he's just going to take a step. So we'll just show that. But we can, I thought we could, yeah, we can motion Dalton Schultz over to this left side if we wanted to. It's not my favorite motion, but it can be effective. Again, there's not really use for it in the passing game, which is why you wouldn't really ever see anybody do that. Kind of limits it and maybe allows a run commit situation if you see that. So I prefer motioning over CeeDee Lamb myself, but there's definitely an avenue where maybe you want to motion him over. But again, stretch, it's probably your most reliable kind of big play potential play, if that makes any sense. You don't really lose too many yards on this play, but it has the kind of the highest upside, I would say, out of anything, and we're picking up pretty easy gains right there. So stretch, definitely a good one. Let's move into this 95 Mike, which is probably my least favorite almost out of all of these. It's kind of like a halfback blast, but sometimes these inside zones, they're really good this year. I noticed that they're super difficult to gap shoot, and they have a very high play potential if you're able to get past that second level. The blocks seem to develop very good. You see we're picking up easy gains right here. We're not even running the strong side of the formation, so this is another one where you can flip and clearly see that you have success. From that standpoint, of course, you can, if we want to keep it to that left-hand side, utilize some motion with CeeDee Lamb over here. And, I mean, just very easy blocks. Even if they get a shed, we're picking up 7 yards. And again, as long as you're really blocking the D-line, there's not too many other people that can come down and make plays on this run play. Now, if you were to flip it to this right side, you can see that it's probably not going to be as good because of the extra men over there, including that linebacker that did not get picked up there. So, personally, I like running it to this side a lot better. And if you want to cut it back, you have the option. That's just how I see it personally. And again, running it to this right side, if you wanted to, you could still incorporate some motion like this. Again, the cutback's a good option for this run, especially if you run it to the right side. It kind of takes away that middle linebacker from shooting the gap to that outside lane. And if you were to run it to the left, you can, of course, I guess because of the way that our fullback is blocking here, we cannot actually motion him over the left for this run, which is a little bit unfortunate, but you can actually kind of confuse some people by motioning over like this. You motion over to the right, you still run to the left. That can hold the attention of the user potentially slightly to that right-hand side and open up some decent running lanes for yourself. Let's continue to our next play, the Power O. Power O is a very strong flip play for me. I love flipping it. Now, again, you're going to have to be very patient for this particular run, especially if you have slower guards like a Zach Martin on your football team. The way that we kind of had to there. This is a run that you can utilize some motion to the left side if you wanted to. He's going to seal off that guy. Now, this fullback in this case is a 60-something overall, so he's not exactly Larry Zonka out there, but you should be able to seal him off in a good position. There you see I was able to get to that second level a little bit earlier. And, of course, it is a little bit different than the inside zone. You just have the pulling guard, which is, of course, your difference in the plays. If you were to run to the right, which I don't really find too much success just running this straight to the right. You can get it to work. Online, I see it work a lot better when you just flip it and snap it. A lot of times people will set up their defense to the right side to take away the stretch immediately. But again, they can't take away really both sides. So one side's always going to have the numbers. And you see just looking at the formation, I mean, there's 2 guys over here that can make the plays. 1 guy over here. You are losing a tight end in blocking, but everybody pretty much will just shift to that left side, and you should still have an offensive lineman free based on the 4-man defense. And you see Tyron Smith able to take away that backside linebacker just cutting straight up the field. So just simple blocking mechanics will tell you that run away from the slot corner, you should have numbers. And again, with this Power O, you can create some of the same things with CeeDee Lamb and motioning over Dalton Schultz respectively. So, and here you see just a super easy result. I mean, 10 yards before contact, the safety's the first one to make a play. And you'll kind of live with that all day, as I accidentally called this toss. Now, of course, we do have a pretty solid offensive line. I'm sure most of you guys have really good outlines and Ultimate Team at that point in the year anyways. But, I mean, Power O is really good. It's really good to beat gap shoot style defenses. So if he's running some kind of a nickel dollar, I don't know what he's running, but some sort of intentional gap shoot defense where he kind of spreads his D-line and just allows his user to get free. An easy way to beat that is Power O. And again, when you're running the Power O, do not hold turbo right away. We're not holding turbo. We're letting him develop, and then we hold turbo, get to that second level, and that's where we can maybe make some man miss. But holding turbo, if we run Power O and we just hold turbo straight away, you sometimes will run into your guys. If that defensive lineman is down a little bit further, then you're running into him almost immediately, taking away any chance of the game. Now our last play is going to be ISO. Simple plays, run it in your 3rd and 1 situations. It's not going to be a big play potential the way that some of these other runs were for us, but it is going to be just a solid play to call on occasion. Again, you just run this straight down the pipe, pick up some solid yards, depending formation to formation. If you're able to beat him off or just beat him with the stretch a lot, what you can do is run this dive. You should be focusing on the outside lanes, moving corners over, kind of spreading linebackers to shoot those gaps, and you can run it right down the pipe. I like having post-ups for this offense a lot. They do a lot in the passing game and the running game. So, I mean, I hope a lot of you guys have post-up anyway, but for those double-team blocks, they just absolutely will push people 5 yards. Some of the best defensive linemen in this game, and it's really difficult to stop. So, same thing with the ISO. If you want to create a strong close look, which sometimes you can do that, it's not the best with motion. This run, when you're motioning to the right side and then you run up the middle, it's going to be a little bit slower than him just standing in the middle. But if you wanted to get him set, he would be a lot more successful. So you motion him, let him get set, and now he's able to put in work. And again, he's very slow. He's 60 overall. Keep that in mind. But I mean, overall, a very good run. I believe we can motion him over. We can. Over to this left side. There you see some patience again. Patience is underrated in this game. It's one of the most important things for runners. I'm sure a lot of you guys do it that run the ball a lot, and just kind of showing how important it really is. So if we wanted to flip the play again, we could still use CD Lamb over here, flip it, snap him over here. Again, some patience. Our wide receiver does get shedded, but we pick up a decent gain anyway. But overall, it's going to do the video. If you guys enjoyed, drop a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, and peace. I'm out of here.